Let's dive in. We'll start, though, in Minnesota, where the Minnesota Vikings have officially named Kyler Murray the starting quarterback for week 1 of the regular season, ending their training camp battle between Kyler Murray and J.J. McCarthy. Before practice yesterday, Todd Monken was asked about his timeline to name a starting quarterback, and Todd Monken said that the unofficial depth chart, which came out after Todd spoke, should say Deshaun or Shedeur Sanders at quarterback 1, and that he's not ready to name a starter, not just for the regular season, but for this Saturday's preseason opener. Boy, I was curious.
Yeah.
And it's not apples to apples. Minnesota's in a different situation than Cleveland. But is there any benefit or any downside to Todd Monken slow playing this decision and not naming a starter, not for the regular season, but just for the preseason?
I see no benefit to not naming a starter. I think the only reason not to name a starter is because you're not sure who it's going to be.
Right.
And that's an indictment of the quarterback situation. Now, maybe that's not the case. Maybe he's already decided who's going to start the regular season. I don't know. But if he has, then to me, I see no benefit in not naming a starting quarterback now. Do you guys disagree? Is there any benefit to not naming the starter if you've already decided who it is?
If you've decided who it is, then why not just name the starter?
Right.
I mean, why are we hiding like this secret?
Yeah. I mean, even going into game 1, let's say we play this out, and let's say Todd Monken refuses to say who his starting quarterback is, even going into the first game. They're playing the Jaguars on opening day, right?
Yep.
Like, is there any kind of advantage that the Browns would get?
No, I mean, listen, after the preseason's done, it doesn't matter. Like, Jacksonville's going to know after the preseason who's going to be the starting quarterback based on how these guys play and what they're hearing out of camp. Like, if I'm Todd Monken and I know today that Deshaun Watson's my starting quarterback based off everything I've seen, it's head and shoulders, he's that much better than Shedeur, what's the harm in naming it? I think he's not naming the starting quarterback because it's still a close competition. And you haven't seen Deshaun Watson play a snap in a regular season game or a real football game. I know preseason coming up this weekend. Yeah. He hasn't played real football in how long? 18 months?
It's been a long time.
It's been a minute. Yeah. So, like, let's see what this guy can do with the pass rush and, like, avoiding the pass rush and, you know, can he survive out there? Because health has been a concern for him. And also Shedeur, you want to see him get in there as well. But, no, I don't have a problem with this. I'm fine with it. The one thing I would say is, like, when he does identify, okay, this guy's got it.
Yeah.
Like, then you go with it because you need the team to start to build that camaraderie around that guy.
Jason, do you believe he already has his starting quarterback picked out?
I think he's probably got a pretty good idea, but I think if it was official, he would have named it.
You think he would have? Yeah. Definitely. He's not just playing games here?
No.
Okay.
No. I think ultimately Deshaun's going to win it.
Why would he not at least announce who's starting this preseason game in 3 days?
I would imagine he'll do that today.
You think so?
I think today he'll probably say.
You don't think there's a chance he's just not going to tell us?
Sure, there's a chance.
Or he's going to lie about who it is? I mean,
no, I think there's a chance that he just run. It'll get out.
Yeah,
it'll get.
But what is? I mean, am I just being? It's a pain in the neck.
No,
or is there some benefit he feels he can?
No,
get?
there is no benefit because you're losing time with your eventual starter. Like
right, but if the team let's say the team knows Deshaun Watson starting week. Yeah, it's unlikely they'd be able to keep that quiet. But let's say in theory they did.
Yeah,
and he just didn't tell the rest of us. Would there be some benefit to the team? No. I don't see it, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, there's no benefit to that. And you know, like there's an opportunity cost at some point about when you're splitting the reps, then your starter's not getting the reps.
Yes.
So I do think that if it was decided and if he was 100% certain and they knew which way they were going, I'm a little surprised that it's August 12th and it hasn't gotten to that point, frankly. Like I thought, again, like we've been saying since February, March, it felt like Deshaun was going to win this thing. And obviously Mary Kay had the report early on about how he was in the lead, and that aligned with everything that a number of people had been hearing all along. So, you know, I think probably Deshaun hasn't grabbed hold of it the way that people thought that he would have.
When I've said a couple of times in the last 2 days that the only reason they haven't named the starter, unless they have and they're just keeping it to the team, which I think is unlikely, is because neither guy is playing well. right? If they were,
Neither guy's
it's not
playing,
like they're both playing great.
neither
Or
guy's
no one
playing
has
well enough to
separated
take
themselves.
Yeah.
it. Neither guy's playing well enough to take it, or they would
Right,
have taken it.
right. So, I mean, that alone is alarming.
Of course.
You know, not that it's a surprise to any of us, but it's still alarming. You know, even though we didn't expect either one to play particularly great, you hoped one would.
You know, I was thinking about this this morning. I actually did read the rundown last night. And I looked at it again. I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. I did read it. But I was thinking about this. How many times has there been a legitimate quarterback competition? Okay.
Yeah.
And the winner of the quarterback competition went on to have a great career. Like usually, if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have one. You don't have any quarterbacks.
I looked this up, Jason,
Yeah.
for a topic.
You're not talking about just the Browns. You just mean in general.
In the
Yeah,
NFL. In general, in the NFL.
There's one I can find for sure, and that's the Russell Wilson, Matt Flynn situation. Russell Wilson beat
Yes,
out Matt
that's a
Flynn,
legitimate
Russell
one.
Wilson
And
went on
Flynn
to
was a
have
free
great
agent
career.
signing.
Yes.
He got more money.
He got a ton of money.
Russell was a late draft pick.
Russ was the fourth,
Yeah.
third, fourth.
third or fourth.
There are sometimes they
Russell's
call
third
it a
pick.
competition when it's the veteran versus a first-round pick. That's not a real competition.
Right. Correct.
But what you're looking for, Mike's
That's
right
it.
about that.
That's
That is
right.
correct. But that's a rarity.
That's one.
Yeah.
Is
there might
another?
be others. I mean, I can't think of anything off the top of my head.
So I
but
guess that's sort of the point. Is like
they're probably few and far between.
They
Yeah.
almost never work out, is the bottom line.
Yeah.
like long term, not for 1 year, but like long term.
Right.
Rarely. I mean, that's a great example.
Yeah.
The Russ Wilson is great because obviously he went on to have a fabulous career,
Yeah.
and I'm sure Pete Carroll, or it was Carroll, right? It was Ben Carroll.
Yes.
I'm
That's
sure
Pete Carroll.
Carroll was like, I don't know, man. We just signed this quarterback to all this money.
Yeah.
Can we really turn the team over to this third-round pick, fourth-round pick, whatever
Right.
it was? I don't remember now. Which would you say it was?
Third.
He's a third round pick.
So, I mean, Russ really, really had to outplay
Right.
Matt Flynn in that instance to take that job.
I'm trying to think. Would you say Kirk Cousins won a battle with RG3 in the second year?
No, I think
No, because
he was hurt.
RG3 got
Is
hurt.
RG3 still hurt?
Yeah.
He got hurt.
Okay.
The bottom line is it doesn't happen a lot.
Yeah.
Like
I
when
mean-
you have a quarterback competition, you're often looking for a new quarterback.
Right, because you
completely.
don't have a good quarterback, so you're like, which one of these two guys who can play?
If you have two,
do I throw in there?
if you have two, usually, not always, usually you don't have one.
Yeah, there's almost never and even in the case of Russell Wilson versus Matt Flynn, it wasn't like Matt Flynn just stunk. I remember he had a couple of good
He
games
had like
at the end
two
of the year
good
before,
games on national TV with
Yeah.
the Packers when Rodgers was hurt or not
Right.
playing.
and that could be who's the case with what's his name that the Dolphins signed from the Packers.
Malik Willis, which could very well be
Yeah.
the same
I'm
thing.
just saying that
Yeah.
Matt Flynn had played at the Packers too.
Yeah.
Who isn't? Where's Tua? Isn't he competing with somebody?
Atlanta.
With Michael Penix.
Okay, I think that might.
That's
But I don't think either of them is any good.
They're both hurt too.
Yeah, they both. Yeah.
Well, we don't know enough about Penix and Tua.
No,
can't
but
say
we
nothing
make
about
opinions. Listen, if we're
No,
gonna say
I'm
don't
not-
think
I'm not
Shedeur
disagreeing
Sanders
with
is
you.
that good, I can say Michael Penix has played more than Sanders, hasn't he?
Yeah.
I
He's
know.
had a ton of injuries.
Yeah.
But he hasn't played well in the time he's been out there. I
Yeah.
think that's fair.
Tua's got some talent though, man. I'm telling you.
I know, but he's
something's
always hurt.
Something up here too
Yeah.
with him
Yeah.
that makes me a little bit
Yes.
hesitant.
But I think
The only other quarterback competition I could find that I think maybe fits this scenario
Yeah.
was last year. Daniel Jones, Anthony Richardson. And I'm not sure we have.
I
a
don't think that was
definitive
a real
answer.
comp. I don't think Anthony Richardson ever had a chance to win that job. How about now? This involves a first-round pick, but the first-round pick, I believe, I don't know if it's been so many years, I can't remember if it was actually a competition or they just went with the veteran. But didn't Kurt Warner beat out Eli Manning in Eli's rookie season?
They wanted Kirk to start. They
Yeah,
wanted
maybe.
to-
I don't know. You sure about that? I don't remember for sure.
It's the one I am sure about. Yes.
Okay.
He's a Giants fan. He would know.
Yeah, but he wasn't even born.
Yes, he was.
What year was that?
Wasn't
He
that
was
long
drafted
ago.
in 2004. I was 11.
Didn't Kurt Warner beat out Matt Leinart
He did beat out Matt Leinart,
Yeah.
in Arizona?
Yeah.
but Leinart was a rookie, and Warner. I mean,
There's probably
like
a
you
few
said,
others.
it's
but
not
here's the thing.
apples to apples. Russ Wilson's the closest
That's-
one.
that's
I
a-
can
that
find.
is a
There's
very
never
good
a
one.
situation, I can't think of ever a situation where two good players who both played great were competing and the team had to decide which of these two awesome guys.
Because
should I
if you
start.
have one great quarterback, you don't go out and find another
right,
one.
right.
Does Joe Montana versus Steve Young
Hold on.
count?
Wasn't there a competition
I don't know.
like
I can't remember
2
the
years
timeline of
ago Wasn't Darnold in competition with Baker? In
Oh yeah,
Carolina?
Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now they're both
Yeah,
starters.
yeah.
They both stunk in Carolina.
I know.
They did both. Yeah, they were both terrible
know.
in Carolina.
That's funny.
That's why I didn't count that in this, because neither of them panned out for the team.
Right.
Like,
Right.
the competition
But they
did
panned
not
out.
work out for the team. It ended up getting them the first overall draft pick for Bryce Young.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
can't say the competition worked
Who
out,
hasn't
even though
panned
both
out?
players went on to have.
Dude, they don't need Bryce Young. They got Haynes King, baby.
Also, I
hell's
mean,
that?
if you're going in the direction that fits the Browns,
Yeah.
last
You
year,
missed the best
or I guess
preseason
2
game
years
of all
ago,
time. The Hall of Fame game.
Darnold versus J.J. McCarthy was the real battle in camp.
You mean Kyler Murray?
Kyler Murray.
No. Didn't Darnold beat out? Am I remembering this incorrectly? Darnold beat out J.J. McCarthy.
Oh,
was
in
hurt.
Minnesota.
Wasn't McCarthy
Yeah,
hurt? He was hurt.
McCarthy was hurt.
Yeah.
That's why they signed
Oh,
Darnold.
you're right. That's
Yeah,
why he
yeah,
ended
yeah.
up playing. It was a battle in camp. He got hurt. Darnold got the job and then went
Yeah.
on to.
But this year, Kyler
Yep,
Murray
there you go. There you
Did
go.
beat out. I think we all assumed Kyler
Everybody,
Murray was going to be the
yeah.
starting quarterback
Yeah,
there.
Yeah.
And as much as Kyler Murray is flawed, he's still been a way better player than Deshaun Watson for the last 5 years.
I think that there is some. I think that they want to be sure that they're fair to both guys. They want to give both guys. And I'm talking Cleveland now. They want to give
Yeah.
both guys a look in the preseason. But there does come a point where like you got to get ready for the season.
Right.
And every rep that you give to the guy who doesn't win, there's an opportunity cost. Every rep that you give to the guy that doesn't win the job is one less rep you're getting ready for
Right.
week one. So, and listen, Todd, that's why I think if he knew, he would have said, because Todd already said he wanted to know at the end of OTAs or going into training camp who the starter was going to be. Well, clearly that hasn't been the case. I think it's because no one's taken hold of the job.